This episode is sponsored by Arbour Sharma Law Group. Houston personal injury lawyers focused on you. Car accidents, serious injuries, real representation. Hablamos español. ArbourSharma.com. Because when life hits hard, you need a team that hits back.
Welcome back to A Cup of Jess, and we're back with the Arbour Sharma Law Group. I'm excited to have you ladies here. I am happy because one, we're at a new setting, and two, I just want to have a relaxed time with you ladies. How are y'all doing today? It's a lucky day, right?
Yeah, we're great, and thank you so much for having us. We are very lucky to be here.
Love the pun. I love this. I love the new set. Congratulations. It seems awesome. Thank you for having us in your show one more time.
No, thank you guys for sponsoring again. As you already know, we already know that you guys do the immigration and PI, right? If you missed out the episode, we already spoke about their background and what they do. And we'll speak a little bit about what you guys do again. We'll go more into detail, but we do want to know a little bit more about you guys. As you already know that if you have any immigration or PI situations, to reach out to you guys. Can you share a little bit where they can reach out to you guys? Phone number, email?
Sure. So the great news is that we are very close to your studio. So we are right here on the Heights. So our office is right in the middle of Heights, 509 East 16th. And our phone number is 713-377-0659. You can reach us there for anything you need relating immigration and personal injury. So, yes, we're really close to you, so we're excited about that too.
Yes, I love it because honestly, like some of the clients that come to us, they're always like, hey, do you recommend a law firm that is close by or that you collaborate with? And I highly, highly recommend you guys to reach out to them. But going more into the podcast, and we want to know a little bit about you. I know I have a couple questions that I prepped myself this time for you to answer. So I do want to ask, what do most lawyers privately think about billboard PI advertising? That's a good one.
I'm gonna let you answer that one.
Ooh,
Because we have a billboard.
we do. We have, I feel, and this is all based on what we hear. This is by no means I would say like a hard industry norm. I don't believe that's the case, but I do think there's a misconception that anyone that has a billboard is essentially just another. Literally, it's called, I feel like the term is billboard lawyer. It's just a billboard lawyer. Oh, it's one of those billboard lawyers that don't necessarily fight for their clients or just have a billboard up and then they send the cases out to somebody else, like a farming kind of pipeline in a way, right? I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about billboards. And of course, I think all rumors have some truth to it. I think there's sometimes those things apply, but luckily, I think the majority of the industry, it's not that way.
Right. I mean, some of these billboards are like overwhelming. I go down, like, I'm not even going to say the highway, but it's like, whoa, like all this different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. But I would say it's good advertising because then it sticks to your mind about like, hey, if somebody, honestly, I have thought about like maybe having a billboard on 290 to see if people really pay attention. But I don't know, like you guys have a billboard. How has that been for the return of investment though?
Great question. I think for us, to be honest, the billboard was for the purpose of introducing ourselves to the community, not necessarily for advertising, because to be frank, most of our clientele or most of our base is word of mouth. They have seen the work that we've done, the results that we have delivered for our clients. And so therefore we get a lot of that referral clientele. So that's something that we're really proud to say. But we had a conversation and we really wanted to introduce our new venture together to the community, to Houston. And we thought that the billboard would be a great idea to launch that for people to get to know us, see how we look like and see where we're at. So that's really the purposes of for more branding more than advertising.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. And now that one of the topics I do want to touch is PI, right? So in PI, we have this controversial ethics and in the personal injury, right? Is the PI referral fee system ethical or just legalized case brokering? You know, what are your thoughts on that?
So there are some, I mean, I'm sure everyone's aware that there are some attorneys that advertise that they do the kind of work, and eventually, unfortunately, they don't end up in that firm. So they will take in the case and they will refer it out to other attorneys that maybe have the specialization. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that that is a way to put them in the right hands, and there isn't anything necessarily wrong with that. I think that depending on the intent of the attorney that's receiving the case, it could be to take them to direct the client to someone that can assist them
Correct.
best. And in other cases, yeah, I mean, I do hear some of that as well, and you know, it really depends. It's on a case by case basis, I would say. I think that a lot of the times these cases end up in the hands of someone that could suit them, that can help them better.
Yes.
Right? So,
No,
yeah.
absolutely. And usually does the client know in the beginning like that hey, I'm going to take your case, but somebody else is going to represent you? Or, I mean,
So
Great
ethically,
question.
they should know.
they should know. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just asking for a friend.
No, that is
Great question.
like Blanca said, a
Yes.
great question.
Yeah.
A lawyer could sign up a case and represent to the client that they may represent them or they may refer it out. And ethically, you should be able to tell that client, hey, this may be not in my wheelhouse. You may not be the best fit, but I'm going to put you in the person that, you know, you will be in their best hands with.
Okay, perfect. And I think I've asked this question before on our last episode but I'm asking because I had a client last week that she had a car accident and she asked me for a PI lawyer, but she already had one that she agreed for some, I don't know if she had a contract or something. I told her, I'm like, hey, send me the contract because I don't know how it would be handled. So if in that case, how do you guys handle, like if I was to refer you a client, she already signed a contract with another lawyer, but she's not satisfied with that situation?
You know, that actually happens more often than not.
Okay.
And it's certainly best that you have a conversation with your lawyer and get all the paperwork that's needed involved with your file.
Right.
We cannot talk to someone who's currently represented.
Okay.
So there would have to be like some conversation as far as, okay, how far are you into this with this case? What are you not happy with? And then we then can just figure out if they are the best fit for us and make sure that, you know, they have conversations with their current lawyers about how they feel and how they may want to like move along from that relationship. But that is very important. Blanca and I will never poach a case. We will never
Right.
take a case that is already signed up by another lawyer. But we do understand when clients come in unhappy with their current lawyer. So we just have to make sure we take the ethical steps that we do to ensure that everyone is taken care of in the best way possible.
Right. And in another note as well, do you feel like other lawyers settle cases rapidly just to have that volume of clients?
I mean, I think that it does depend on the individual techniques of the attorney. I
Right.
think there are some attorneys that want to just kind of, you know, increase volume and everyone is just kind of it's a numbers game, really.
Right.
So it's get the case, settle the case, take the case out. Get the case, settle the case, and get it out. So there are some firms that work that way, but there are firms that don't, right? So it really is depending on whatever the values of the lawyer are and their
Correct.
strategic methods in the way that they practice.
Right.
But I'd say ideally, we want to analyze the case, have a good evaluation on the case value of it for the client. And that is really what should dictate the length of time.
No, and it is crucial.
Yes. And just to piggyback off what Blanca said, I think that, you know, Blanca and I are going to get a case and we're going to look at it from what's called a litigation lens from the very beginning.
Gotcha.
we're not going to just get a case and say, okay, this is a great case that just needs to be settled and like pushed out the door. No, that's not the situation at all. We're going to evaluate a case and say, okay, what type of investigation do we need to do? What type of experts do we need to hire? How can we maximize this case value and put it in litigation, which I think a lot of people don't really understand what the difference is between a pre-litigation case and a litigation case, and what litigation attorneys are versus pre-litigation attorneys are. And I think that that's what separates us from a lot of attorneys. And so that's where you're going to find our value in.
Right.
We're going to immediately look at a file and say, okay, how can we try this case?
Yep.
Not how can we just get this case out of our door and be done with it.
No, and that's true. And that's how we work as well in the tax industry, because there is the tax professionals that they are just by volume. They have people waiting for taxes to be done. They're waiting for 2 hours, clients waiting for 2-3 hours just because they're doing taxes, but it's the value that you're bringing to the clients. For example, for us, we only work by appointments. Why? Because we want to give that value to the client to make sure we study the case. We want to know what their goals are and how their financials are as well, right?
Yeah.
So that's same thing. Like we are not about quantity, we're about quality, right? And making sure we are giving our best to every client. And then you have to also understand that not every client is your client. So it's okay to say no as well, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely.
That's so important.
Yes, but moving on to the immigration side, right? There's some hard truth out there, and some conversations that, that are happening out there. So do you think that why do immigration cases take years? Like, especially right now, like I know we've seen a delay, especially in green cards, citizenships. And I even have clients that they're like, hey, I submitted my application back in July, September. Do you know, or can you guide us on what's happening that there's such a delay on those cases?
Yeah. So it really depends. So with immigration, there is a very wide range of different applications and different types of relief.
Correct.
And every type of relief has a different timeline. And so that is one of the biggest points to bring up when it comes to the timeline on each immigration case to be resolved. So some cases are in actual litigation, I would say some of those cases are actually in court. They actually need to be presented in front of a judge and fought for that relief in trial. And some of them are administrative. Some of them are literally with just a department, and it's an application-based system. So it really depends on what path the immigrant is on. I will say that in today's administration, delays have happened, of course, because fear leads to saturation of the system, right? A lot of people start filing because they're concerned. Now they're worried. Things that they probably in the past left to be like, okay, that's never going to happen to me. Now, with the recent news that we see in the headlines, people are getting concerned. And of course, that leads to fear, which leads to them applying more, and larger crowds cause delay. So a lot of applications are in the queue, and we just kind of have to chill and wait until something gets processed.
Right.
But I will say that a file should never just sit in an attorney's office, right? So delays should not happen because something that we failed to do.
Correct.
Or something that we're not moving or pushing the government to do. So
it's out of your control. And that's something, same thing. I'm going back to IRS because it's two different departments, but they go hand on hand, right?
Yeah,
it's like
government.
that COVID time that everybody wanted to do the EDIL loans and the PPP, like, oh, are you a business? Do you have your taxes done? And then IRS got saturated, right? So same thing, and that makes sense too, because I've had a lot of clients that they're like, hey, I don't know what's going on, because as not only attorneys and tax professionals, but we also become a therapist. So we have to hear these concerns and what they're going through with either immigrations or the IRS situation. But it is what Blanca said, it is something that it's out of fear. People come out and they're like, oh, I should have renewed my green card, or I should have applied for a citizenship, and now everything is saturated. So Yeah, no, that makes sense. But going to a topic that I love, which is business, I do want to ask, what is it? What is the hardest thing that you ladies have encountered in running a law firm as the business side? Like, can you tell our audience like something that you weren't expected to be like, hey, I have to spend this much in advertising, and we weren't counting on that? I'm just curious to know about your experience.
I wouldn't say it's something that was unexpected because I think it was very much expected. I think it was just the weight of it all, and that is paying people salaries. Right?
That's right.
I mean,
We have payroll.
yeah, we are.
Yes, we do.
We are, handling people's way of life, and that is a very heavy burden. And I wouldn't say a burden, but it's just something that you have to think about. And I think that Blanca and I are the people that think that we are only as successful as the people that we make successful, right? So if they're more successful than we are as well. But I think that the payroll and just really kind of taking the real selfishness out of it, right? Because I want to make sure that my people are paid before
Correct.
I'm paid. And I think Blanca feels the same way.
Right.
We want to make sure our people are paid. So it's just making sure that we continue to bring in the business that we need to, and that we can make sure everyone's happy plus some, right? Not just being paid, right? We want to
build that culture,
right?
internally.
Instill, incentives and drive people because, I think that that's very important. I want people to be driven to, work for us. So I think that's the biggest part of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't want to sound spoiled, but I think, I think we've been really lucky. I think that a lot of the concerns that a lot of business owners have, we are lucky not to have them. I think that our biggest concern and worry and the biggest effort we make is to make sure that our team is happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
And
would
then
agree.
you feel like law school didn't show me this and
No,
teach me this.
law school definitely didn't show us how to do that.
Experience did.
Experience that,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
And caring. I think if you're care for the people that are helping you make these things come true and helping you build these, follow these paths to help the community, you're not alone. You have your team, and then your team is part of your success. And I think compensation for the team that makes that happen is essential.
No, absolutely.
Valuing our team, valuing the people that that are there to make us money, make the client money. So absolutely.
Yes. And I do feel like as an entrepreneur, you have the biggest responsibility, not only for your clients, but as your team, because you have to be, like you said, bringing the business and making sure we win the cases, making sure your tax returns are being done on time, and that the client does leave with a good experience. So how do you guys feel about the Google reviews as a business owner now? Like, we're so busy with the day-to-day operations, sales, but then a Google review comes in place. Is that really very important for you guys?
I mean, we love to hear the feedback of our clients. We definitely love that. It is funny sometimes because Google reviews are not necessarily honest all the time. They remember that Google is accessible to everyone. That's your clients, and then sometimes, but anybody can leave a review.
Yeah,
that's the thing. There's no restriction on who can leave a review. I have personal experience, and I'm going to talk about it very briefly. I had a review from a client from the opposing counsel. So opposing counsel's client leave a horrible review for me. And I almost wanted to ask my team to respond, like, you're not happy. I'm glad you're not happy. You're not supposed to be happy with the outcome. That means I did a great job.
Right.
So those kinds of things are important because I think it's important to note that anyone that has access to Google, anybody that can leave a Google review. It's not necessarily an honest review. So I will say that the reviews that have been less than optimal, in like upfront when you review it, you realize, oh no, this this is actually a great review for me because she's not
Yes,
happy
that
because I
means
did my
that
job
you
for the other
won,
side.
right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and that's something that I agree. Like we stress about like having that 5-star review, but then somebody else comes and you're like, wait, but were you my client? And then that's when you reply back and all that happens, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, we gotta look into more deeply into
I have a
it,
tip
right?
for that, by the way. We started putting numbers in our cases. So all of our cases have numbers. So whenever there's a review, we always ask them for the number of the case. And they can never give it because they were never clients. So that's a good way to do it. Give a number, assign a number to a client, and then make them commit to referring to that number,
Right.
that identifier. So
Yeah,
that's a good tip.
I actually had a review on Facebook, and they spoke about how horrible was the review, the experience, right, at SAS. And I looked him up. He's from California, and the way that I replied was like, "I'm sorry, but we can't find you in our system as a client." So, unfortunately, there are trolls out there, and they're haters. So we just have to live, with it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but with that being said, have you ladies ever fired a client?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Go
first.
Look, anyone that is disrespectful to me, to Blanca, to
Or the team?
anyone on our team,
Absolutely.
in a heartbeat. I do not play that. My team has heard me fire a couple of clients. But no, I think that, look, yes, I think people think that maybe they're not paying us forthright, right? Like we don't make any money from the beginning. We work on a contingency basis. They pay
Correct.
us at the end. And I think that may cause some confusion. I'm always a person that, look, I always work for the client, no matter what. However, I also think as women, we tend to can get some disrespectful
Correct.
comments, people that, want to take things a little too far. And I will shut that down in a heartbeat. That is something that especially, look, I can take it for myself and say, okay, fine, say whatever you want to say. But when you speak to my team, when you speak to Blanca, in any certain way, I'm going to fire you.
No, absolutely.
Very easily.
And there's situations that even my team, they're like, hey, this person called, they said they're your friend, but they're being disrespectful. I'm like, no, if they're my friend, they're not going to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
They'll be calling me directly.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. If there's something. So
They're just not the best fit for us.
No.
And so,
but I do have to also say that sometimes it's better to have a friend and not have them as a client.
yes.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
yeah.
some situations that you're like, no, I rather, hey, let's stay as friends. And maybe we don't work together as clients. So
We
yeah.
can drink together, but we can't work together.
Yes. Let's go into lawyer myths versus reality.
Oh.
So, do lawyers actually lie in court?
We're not supposed to? No.
No.
Absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. And clients are not supposed to either.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
You are swearing. And
Yes.
absolutely.
We are under
Yes.
oath.
Yes.
We are not able to lie.
Yeah.
And do PI lawyers really chase ambulances?
No. So yes, we have a bad reputation. We are called ambulance chasers. But no, we do not actually chase them. I can speak for ourselves. We don't chase them. It's just about finding the right client for the right firm.
And if they hear those rumors, they should be careful.
Yes.
If that's something that they hear about them, they should just watch out.
It's true.
I love to have you ladies here because you're like speaking the truth. And with that being said, are contingency fees really 33%?
Yes and no. So that's
Okay.
a very great question. So there are two phases of personal injury in a
Okay.
sense. In the first part of it, I would say like the more broader part of it is going to be a pre-litigation phase and a litigation phase. Blanca and I are litigation attorneys. As soon as we get a case in, we're immediately saying, okay, let's file the lawsuit. Let's figure out who we want to hire to work on our case with us. Let's dig into it. Let's do our investigation. Let's talk to different experts. Industry standard, when you are dealing with litigation, fees are 40%.
Okay.
Pre-litigation is 33%. So it's heavily dependent on timing of when you're dealing with a case and what type of case. But we are mainly litigation lawyers. We have a pre-litigation department, but our specialty is that we want to be in the courtroom. We want to talk to a judge. We want to deal with motions, hearings, investigations, experts, whatever we need to do to make a litigation case stronger.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned court. You want to
Yes.
be at the court.
Yep.
Yes.
Is that what motivates you in the morning? You're like, I'm going to go fight.
we prefer
Yeah,
it? We
I
prefer
mean,
it.
Okay,
I
okay.
think so.
Yeah, we prefer it.
I think that is where we
Awesome.
both have a lot of great strengths in, and we both, we can get in front of a judge. We are not going to be scared. We aren't afraid of deadlines, and I think that a lot of people hear about the burden of proof, right? And we all watch SVU. We love SVU. And on the criminal defense side, what I think a lot of people hear about is the prosecutors have the burden of proof. Well, on the personal injury side, we have the burden of proof.
Gotcha.
So it's up to us to build up the case, to present facts, to really push the file and deal with these deadlines. And a lot of times that's what a lot of people don't want to do.
Gotcha.
But we have no problem doing that.
With also your schedule, how many days out of the week are you ladies in courts? Like, do you have hey, Tuesdays and Thursdays? Or it just
We're at the court's mercy.
Yeah, it's really up to the court.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on whatever stage the case is on.
Gotcha.
It really, there's preliminary hearings, there's hearings prior to the trial,
Yeah.
there's trial. So it really depends on the court's docket.
How do you deal with vacation? What about
We have to file in advance.
Vacation letters, yeah.
Yeah, we have to
okay.
notify them.
Or if there's a period where okay, we don't really have a lot going on, we know we can last minute just leave or do something that we really want to do.
Gotcha.
But I don't think that's something that we mind. We don't mind leaving last minute. We are at mercy of the court and at our clients, and that's where our heart and where our first preference is to be, right? And then we can figure out where we'll vacation at some point.
How do you manage so many cases and you have this upcoming week and you have multiple court dates? Do you literally have to spend your weekend studying the case and then, be prepared for that court date?
If there is a court date, for example, today is what, Tuesday? If I had a court, or if I was having to prepare for a hearing next week, I would probably prepare this week and during the weekend. If we had a court hearing, but sometimes, it just really depends on the court. But we have the ability to prioritize, and I think that's where we really have to. Because all of these cases are in different stages, like I mentioned, so we have to give priority to the one that needs the attention first, right? To make sure that everyone is given the most devotion of our time and our attention. So we make sure that everyone is calendared. We have a very good scheduling system, organization. We keep track of everything. Actually, Anj and I, when we were building the practice, we decided that we were going to have this system and implemented the system, everything, so that everything could flow, so that the volume
That's
would never
amazing
get
because you
overwhelmed.
need a system. If not, you're going to go crazy.
It's very important in our line of work. We're very deadline driven.
Yes.
So we have to be on top of our deadlines, and it's very important for our clients and to make sure that our cases are the most successful.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's why I trust you, ladies. And you already know, if you have a PI or an immigration case that needs attention, please reach out to these beautiful ladies that personally, they're my attorney in business and whatever else I need.
And this is our accountant.
Yeah.
Yes. So if in case you are needing the services, please reach out, and you can reach out to us, and stay tuned because we have more coming. We have more episodes. So if you have any situation or questions that you would like me to ask these ladies, please let me know. And remember to stay tuned at A Cup of Jess. Thank you.